Hello there everyone, my name is Jeff and I'm here on behalf of Spore Harvest to tell you that this story contains sexual scenes and or gore. If you are disturbed by any of these things, you should click off the video now. Okay then, the rest of you, come right in, enjoy the show.
Fallen, written by Patrick12345. Chapter 1. The Fall. His heavy breaths echoed through the seemingly empty hall. His father had just been overthrown and executed on the spot. The rebels were coming for him now. A voice far behind him shouted,
"Down here!"
An arrow sailed past his head and he dove forward over a fallen column.
"Kill him! Don't let him escape!"
Another voice shouted. The man glanced behind himself and saw two mages and a crossbowman chasing him down the hall. A hand grabbed the man by his shoulder and tore him into a room. The door to the room slammed shut.
"Thank the gods I got you."
The man who yanked the first man into the room said. "Rise, thank the gods," the first man said, hugging Rise tightly.
"Prince, we need to get you out of the country,"
Rise said. "How do you think we'll get through the rebels? They want my head," the prince said. Rise motioned back to a large diagram drawn on the floor. "A tunnel? That's suicide," the prince stammered.
"Yes, for me it is."
Rise nodded. "No, we can fight through them," the prince said.
"It's just you and me left, Prince. We can't fight,"
Rise said. The prince remained silent for a moment. Okay, I'll take the tunnel," he said.
"Good,"
Rise said, approaching the diagram on the floor. "Rise," the prince said.
"Arcantos, just be quiet,"
Rise said with a small smile.
"Shut the fuck up and just make sure to survive for me, okay?"
Arcantos nodded.
"Good, get ready,"
Rise said as he put his hands on the edge of the diagram. He chanted something in an ancient language and the diagram began to glow brightly. A rainbow of colors swirled in the center, followed by a massive plume shooting into the air.
"Goodbye, Ark, and may the gods bless—"
Rise was cut off as something burst forth from the plume, instantly dragging him into it. He had no time to scream in agony as he was absorbed into the tunnel. The plume shrank back down and it swirled again. "Goodbye, my old friend," Arcantos said in a pained tone. A few tears began to slide down his face. There was a sudden bashing on the door.
"Get this open!"
a man shouted. The door flew open and a crossbow was aimed at Arcantos. Arcantos took one look back before diving into the unknown destination that the tunnel would lead him to. Before he was fully in, the bolt from the crossbow collided with his back, knocking him fully into the portal. In Ponyville.
"So, why exactly are you bringing me here, Pinky?"
Twilight asked.
"Are you questioning me?"
Pinky asked, stopping immediately and turning to face her.
"No,"
Twilight said quickly.
"Goody, then come on,"
Pinky said.
"Okay."
Twilight shrugged, following behind her friend. Pinky led her for a bit before stopping.
"Shh,"
she said, quickly putting a finger to Twilight's lips.
"Did you hear that?"
"Hear what?" Twilight asked quietly.
"Wind,"
Pinky whispered. There was a sudden loud crack that sounded like thunder.
"The wind is mad! Quick, pretend to be wind! You have to whistle!"
Pinky said quickly.
"What?"
Twilight was interrupted.
"Whistle!"
Pinky screamed, shaking Twilight violently. There was another series of loud booms, followed by an oddly green-colored bolt of energy slamming into the ground beside the two of them.
"Pinky, that isn't the wind,"
Twilight said. Pinky seemed to have been spacing off. She glanced at Twilight.
What wasn't?
She asked.
Twilight
was cut off as a portal opened up in the air.
Ooh,
Pinky said, staring entranced at the portal.
Why did a portal just open up right here?
Twilight questioned.
I don't know. What's going to come out of it?
Pinky asked.
No idea. Anything could happen,
Twilight said. A moment later, there was a small noise as a vase fell from the portal and landed in front of Twilight.
Okay, didn't expect that,
Twilight said uncertainly. Shortly after, a creature fell out of the portal onto his hands and knees. The creature was breathing heavily as he struggled to climb to his feet.
Hey there! Why you got a thing in your back?
Pinky asked, staring at the bald lodge just below the neck. It seemed to have not hit anything vital.
Pinky, go get someone,
Twilight stammered as she saw the blood now flowing freely from around the bolt. Pinky immediately ran off in the other direction. Twilight rushed to the creature's side, her horn lit up as she attempted to stauch the bleeding. The man slipped back to the ground as he lost the energy to move.
You'll be fine, just...
Twilight started to say.
Oh.
He mumbled.
Just stay calm, you're going to be alright,
Twilight said. It hurts more than before, he muttered.
What happened?
Twilight asked. Rebels want me dead. The man coughed weakly.
What rebels?
Twilight asked. They don't have a name, the man said. His breathing started to become more labored, as if it was taking a lot of effort to keep it up. I can't keep it. I'm sorry.
Sorry? For what?
Twilight asked. That I can't. His voice trailed off before his body relaxed. Pinky came back, followed by a few paramedics.
Sweet Celestia,
one of the men said.
Get him on a stretcher and hurry.
The group of paramedics managed to get the man onto the stretcher.
Keep him stable,
another paramedic said.
Let's move, we don't have much time. He'll be fine. We were able to remove the bolt without much trouble, though I'd suggest keeping him from moving all too much just so we can make sure that nothing else was damaged by it.
The doctor said to Twilight.
Would it be okay if I stayed here until he woke up?
Twilight asked.
It wouldn't be of much harm if you did,
the doctor said.
If you need anything, just call me or a nurse in.
He walked out of the room and shut the door behind himself. Twilight walked up to the bed and stared down at him.
Please don't be dead,
she said quietly. The man took in a rattling breath. You and I are both hoping that. He chuckled weakly. His eyes slowly opened up. Twilight smiled.
Oh, you're fine,
she sighed. And I'm going to guess it's thanks to you. He smiled weakly.
Not like it was easy hauling your ass in here. You're lucky I have magic.
Twilight chuckled. Really? What's cool? He asked curiously.
Canterlot?
Twilight said slowly. Canterlot? Oh, you thought... Oh, sorry, he said with a small chuckle. I meant what school of magic, not where did you learn it.
Oh, levitation is what I used to carry you, so...
Twilight said. So, an illusionist? He asked.
Illusion? Of course not. I assure you it is real magic,
Twilight said as if she was offended. Well,
He stopped for a moment as he slowly began to process something.
Sorry if I offended you. I just don't know much about... Here.
That's fine. I shouldn't have assumed you were insulting me. It's just strange when an injured man falls from the sky, especially when you're not exactly a familiar race by any definition. What are you, by the way?
She asked, sounding a little intrigued. Well, I'm a human, and as for future reference, you can call me Arcantos, he said.
Well, Arcantos, my name is Twilight Sparkle. It's nice to meet you.
She smiled. Likewise, after everything that's happened to me in the past few months, it's just nice to see a friendly face, he said, returning the smile.
Did you need anything?
Twilight asked. Not unless you have some sort of mana potion on hand, Arcantos said.
Mana?
Twilight asked curiously. It's a form of magical energy. I assume your kind uses a different form to power your magic, Arcantos said. He took in a deep breath. Gods, this lack of mana is really draining me. He yawned as though suddenly sleepy.
Just rest. You're in safe hands here,
she said. Arcantos's eyes darted over her and started looking her up and down. A smile crossed his lips as he looked back up at her face.
What?
Nothing, he chuckled. I'm still just a little surprised by something.
And what's that?
She asked. You may find out later. He smiled. That is, if I see you again.
Are you going anywhere?
She asked. No, I don't have anywhere to go anymore. He sighed.
Then we'll be seeing each other, and I'm guessing you don't carry an interdimensional house with you.
She joked. Arcantos smiled a little more. If you're asking what I think you are, that'd be wonderful, he said.
Well, I am responsible for you. It's only right,
she said half-jokingly. Arcantos pushed himself up and instantly grabbed his head. Oh, bad idea, he mumbled. Twilight's magic surrounded him and pushed him gently back down onto the bed.
I told you to rest. You're not leaving until you can sit up straight without fainting,
she said. All right, he nodded. I'll rest. He looked back at her, an almost pleading look on his face.
I'll be right here when you wake up.
She smiled, taking a seat next to the bed. The look faded and he smiled.
Okay,
he said, his eyes closing shortly after. He drifted off to sleep after another minute. 2 hours later. Arcantos yawned quietly as he woke up. He looked around the room for a moment before he saw that Twilight had fallen asleep in the chair. He looked to the other side and noticed some clothing had been put there. He carefully pushed himself out of bed, this time being able to stand without getting dizzy. He dropped the hospital gown he was wearing and reached forward, grabbing the underwear from the top of the pile. He had to turn around because a cord had wrapped itself around his leg. Twilight opened her eyes slightly as she started to wake up.
What?
She stopped mid-sentence when she realized she had a clear view of his currently erect dick. Arcantos froze momentarily. Oh, I didn't think... he mumbled, covering himself up with his free hand. He fidgeted around to get the underwear on. Her face turned bright red and looked away. She mumbled. Sorry about that, he said, sounding slightly ashamed. I should have woken you up to tell you I was going to get dressed.
No, it's big. I mean fine,
Twilight said quickly. Arcantos's cheeks turned slightly red. Yes, quite, he said with a small cough. Quite fine, I guess.
Maybe you should get dressed,
Twilight said. Yeah. He nodded, uncovering his morning wood to try to pull up his underwear. Twilight glanced over and stared intently at it, seeming slightly entranced. He shifted his hips quickly, causing his dick to bob from side to side. Twilight's eyes followed it, and her mouth slowly fell open. Arcanthus pulled his underwear up, containing his now throbbing erection. "Okay, I need bigger underwear," he said to himself.
"No, you don't,"
she said suddenly. He mumbled, now staring wide-eyed at her. What?
"What?"
she said, as if snapping out of a daze. "Okay," he said.
"You, seem to take care of yourself,"
Twilight said quietly, staring at his well-toned body and athletic figure. "Yes, I drill myself daily," Arcanthus said. Twilight's face blushed a brighter shade of red. "Did I?" he mumbled. "I meant workout drills and training," he said quickly. Twilight nodded quickly.
"Yes, that's what I was thinking of,"
she said. Arcanthus fumbled around as he slipped some pants on. He quickly reached over and grabbed the shirt.
"You don't need that,"
Twilight said. But..." Arcanthus started.
"I mean..."
she stammered. He glanced at her as he quickly put the shirt on, shortly after putting on the pair of socks and shoes that were sitting on the floor. "Okay then, I guess you're in charge then?" he said, as if uncertain of his wording. Twilight immediately crossed one leg over the other.
"I bet you'd like that,"
she mumbled quietly. What?" he asked.
"You seem to be fine. We should get going,"
Twilight said quickly, standing up. "Yeah, that sounds good," he nodded. "Really good, like..." he mumbled as he got lost in thought.
"Yes,"
Twilight stated. There was a flash as she teleported the two out. Arcanthus stumbled and managed to support himself against Twilight, his arms wrapped around her accidentally. His erection pressed against her leg. Twilight tensed up slightly and looked down at it before quickly looking away. She said. He quickly jerked away. "Sorry, lost my balance," he stammered.
"I don't know how you keep it with that thing,"
she mumbled. "You learn to," he mumbled, staring at the ground.
"Right, home. Come with me,"
she said, beginning to walk immediately. "I bet it feel great," he mumbled quietly. She paused for a moment before continuing to walk. He looked up quickly and followed behind her. "So, where do you live?" he asked.
"In a tree,"
she said. "In a tree? Seems a little..." he started.
No, not like that. You'll see,"
she said. The two of them walked until her house came in clear view.
"There,"
she said, pointing to it. "Oh, that's not what I was expecting at all," he said.
"You'll love the inside, implying you like to read."
She smiled as they approached the house. She opened the door and motioned him inside. "Then I love it here even more." He smiled as he walked inside. "Hey, Twilight," Spike started, freezing as he saw Ark. "Who's he?" Ark froze and stared at Spike.
"Oh, hi Spike. This is Ark. Ark? Spike. Spike is my assistant. He's a dragon,"
she said. "He's a little small," Arcanthus said. "Hey!" Spike snapped.
"Baby dragon,"
Twilight corrected herself. "I've never seen a baby dragon. Most of the ones I've seen were thousands of years old, so they were massive," Arcanthus said.
Uh-huh. So Twilight?
Spike said, paying almost no attention to the new guest.
He'll be staying with us,
Twilight said. Oh, come on! Spike groaned.
That's final, Spike,
Twilight said sternly. Fine, Spike sighed. It's not like I won't try to earn my keep, Arcantos said quietly. I'm not useless.
I'm sure you two will get along just fine,
Twilight said. Ark's stomach grumbled a bit.
Oh, you're probably hungry. Spike, go make food,
Twilight said, shooing him away. No, I'm sure you're both hungry, so allow me to start repaying my debt to you, Ark said.
Oh, that sounds really nice,
Twilight smiled. Yes, now, Ark mumbled as he looked around.
The kitchen is over here,
Twilight said, grabbing Ark's hand. Ark tensed up a little and followed her. An hour later. So, how was it? Ark asked the two of them. Spike gave a thumbs up. I take it back. You can have my bed, he said with his mouth full. No, I won't take your bed. Ark chuckled. He looked at Twilight.
I love the food too. You know,
Twilight started. Do I know what? Ark raised an eyebrow.
You can stay in my bed if you want,
Twilight said. Spike stopped chewing and looked up at her wide-eyed. Ark mumbled.
If you're not comfortable, I could sleep on the couch,
Twilight said quickly. No, it's fine. I'll take the couch. You deserve a bed, Ark said.
No, I strongly suggest you sleep with me,
Twilight said. Ark coughed and choked back a little food. Going to take a walk. Thanks for the food, Spike said uncertainly, jumping up and bolting out the door.
Yes, that sounds great,
Twilight nodded. Where's the bathroom? Ark asked.
Upstairs next to my bedroom. You can't miss it,
she said. Ark stood up. Thanks, he said, rushing upstairs and into the bathroom. Well, this is a new story that I'm going to put on my channel, and if you liked it, hit that like button and subscribe, and here is your daily dose of brainwashing. Bye.